NewsX World. It's a pleasure to talk to you. We now move on over to Latin America, and Venezuelan opposition figures in Colombia say the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, remains central to efforts to change the government, despite recent developments. Her team emphasized that she will meet US President Donald Trump in the Oval Office on the 20th of January and is working directly with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The Venezuelan opposition aide, Maria Palmer, dismissed claims that Machado had been sidelined, saying she remains Venezuela's leader and that gradual US intervention is unfolding as planned. These comments come 6 days after the US capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores. Meanwhile, in Panama City, social movements held demonstrations against US security policies and warned against intervention after events in Venezuela. Dozens gathered with flags and banners recalling the January the 9th, 1964 flag riots, emphasizing Latin American unity and sovereignty over US influence. Let's take a listen in to what Machado's aide, Maria Palmer, had to say.
No, Maria Corina ha estado al frente antes, durante y después del 3 de enero. Entendemos las narrativas políticas y a quién le habla Donald Trump, a sus electores internamente. Sabemos a esta hora que María Corina va a estar antes del 20 de enero en el Salón Oval. Eso es trascendental porque el 20 de enero se da el discurso de la Unión, que para la dinámica de intereses económicos y políticos de Estados Unidos es trascendental y nosotros lo hemos dicho con sinceridad. Cada quien tiene sus intereses, todos quieren nuestro petróleo, eso lo sabemos, lo sabe María Corina y nosotros, ¿qué queremos? La libertad, para llevar al país al desarrollo y al crecimiento. Por eso ni subestimamos a las bandas criminales ni nos confiamos en nada, estamos trabajando en ello. María Corina está trabajando directamente, y aquí hay que decirlo con todas sus letras, con el secretario del Departamento de Estado.
Joining us once again is Professor Jim Rice. He is a professor of international law. Jim, incredibly complicated situation now since that January the 3rd day of the seizure of Nicolas Maduro. Of course, there was some analysts and experts that thought Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado would be installed. Maybe some hopes for Trump administrations, for the Trump administration, that they would install her in government. That hasn't happened as of yet, but however, we do have an Oval Office meeting. Going back once again, of course, Maduro's election widely seen as illegitimate. Machado was in exile when that happened. Gonzalez, her party leader, was seen to have won that election internationally. However, we've got a meeting now between Machado and Trump in the Oval Office set for January the 20th. Can an opposition figure here, meeting a foreign president, legally claim leadership over a sovereign country? What are we going to expect from this meeting?
You know, I really don't know, except for the fact that you know, you invite me on to talk about international law, and this invasion was a clear violation of Article, and it was in violation of the United States law as well, because laws that are signed and ratified by the Senate are treaties are U.S. law. So Trump broke both of those things. It's interesting that you mentioned these issues about opposition leader Machado, but immediately Trump, out of the gate, just discredited her in front of the entire world by saying that nobody respects her, which probably means that he doesn't respect her, despite the fact that her party won the election by a vast amount of votes, and that Maduro delegitimized it illegally. Again, it's important that we listen to what the law says and we follow that. However, it's obvious with Trump, it's all about the oil, and it's about nothing but the oil. And we know this because Trump said so. In fact, Trump notified the oil companies before he even notified Congress. So his words and his actions demonstrate that it's never going to be about human rights. It's never going to be about democracy. It's about the oil.
And what does this gradual intervention mean, which the US administration speaks about in legal terms? Is it covert pressure, sanctions, or force when it comes to US running Venezuela?
Well, again, I've not heard of a situation like this because the Maduro regime is still in power, and Trump is trying to, in quotes, run Venezuela, a huge country with more than 30 million people, by sheer coercion of what now is a puppet leader in the form of Rodriguez. So I honestly don't know how this is going to work out. I really don't.
Professor Jim Rice, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. It's a pleasure to talk to you as always.